New assault map, Horizon Lunar Colony. Now, this is actually really exciting. On Monday, they basically did a tweet and they Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to N+1 channel. This is Carl, and Blizzard has dropped a stealth PTR update. Now, what does this include? Well, we're gonna find out. Welcome to the patch 1.12.0 patch notes. Now, it's actually kind of funny. I noticed that Blizzard actually put this as patch notes for January 5th, 2017. I guess they have a template that they changed the date on, but you can actually see that the correct date is in fact 5/31/2017. A new patch is now live. Read below to learn about the latest changes. Alright, so, and then of course I got the discussion link, the bug report, and the technical support forum links. Patch highlights. New assault map, Horizon Lunar Colony. Now this is actually really exciting. On Monday, they basically did a tweet and they kind of teased at some changes, right? And no one was really 100% sure. Some people were like, oh, it's going to be a new hero named Hammond and has something to do with Winston and it's on the moon. And so it was sort of a toss-up between, okay, were we getting a moon map or were we getting a new hero? It's kind of early for a new hero, since we just got Orisa back in February. But, you know, at the same time, Blizzard did say, I think, about 3 new heroes a year. So I guess it could have been. I think we're actually going to get a new hero announcement probably at the end of the anniversary event. But some people are saying BlizzCon, so I don't know. Hoping it's Doomfist, right? And, you know, some people are joking Moonfist because, you know, they were hinting at the moon. So the new assault map, Horizon Lunar Colony, built as the first step towards humanity's renewed exploration of space, the Horizon Lunar Colony's goal was to examine the effects of prolonged extraterrestrial habitation on human and ape alike. The scientists' research proved incredibly promising until suddenly all contact and communication with the base were lost. So that's our lore explanation of why there's a map. All right. Now, just below that, new legendary skins. They're not actually new because this is Oni Genji and Officer Diva have been added to classic loot boxes. And I think that they did this in response to people being a little bit upset that, you know, the anniversary dance emotes are temporary, when people thought those were actually going to be added to the base game. And I think this might actually be a little bit of a response to the fact that they haven't been adding traditional legendary skins to the game. So that's kind of cool. I feel like it's still not quite meeting the community in the middle. I think that the community really wants to push for having these dance emotes actually added to the base game. Maybe we'll see that, maybe we won't. 750 is a little steep, especially since every character has a dance emote. Alright, custom games and game browser. Player gravity and projectile gravity can now be modified. So this is obviously part of the Lunar Colony map, and so they, from what I was reading this on Reddit, but it looks like you actually have custom gravity options because of the fact that that non-traditional gravity actually does exist in the lunar map, and I'm going to be doing some gameplay video of that later, but I do want to cover this now. But that's exciting, right? Custom games have been getting more and more complex. They've been getting really fun. Earlier today, I was actually boundary breaking the Castillo map and the one that's like Eichenwald, and I can't think of the name of it, but that little village with the wooded area, like Black Forest or something, I think is what it's called. All right, so let's see here. Knockback magnitude can now be modified on any weapon or abilities that have a knockback effect. So not weapons that don't knock people back, but like Pharah's concussive grenade or concussive shot, or Lucio's boop, or anything like that that can knock it back. It looks like you can actually like amplify it basically. So that's really cool. Or maybe you can turn it down as well. Also, jump height can now be modified, and I imagine that's part of the gravity system. They probably had, you know, a couple different variables for like how high you could jump, and then, you know, your descent down. So that's really cool. I'm glad to always see that they're expanding options in custom games. All right, we got some hero updates here. Now, I actually haven't previewed these, so let's see here. All right, For McCree, it looks like Deadeye. Now, targets begin locking on after 0.2 seconds instead of 0.8 seconds. This is a pretty big deal, right? They're cutting that down by 3/4, okay? One of the things about Deadeye is that McCree pops up, says, "It's high noon," and he glows like a Christmas tree. Now, in lower SR games, honestly, and competitive, this is usually like instant death. But for higher SR games where people are very much aware of their surroundings, McCree does not get a chance to get this off on a regular basis. So this definitely improves his odds at actually being able to pull off his ult. This is definitely a buff for him as a character. McCree mains should absolutely be excited about this. And McCree actually hasn't been a good McCree in a while. There was a time where McCree was actually considered to be a little overpowered. Now in the meta, though, he's actually been a little weaker, so I'm glad to see that. Also, damage accumulated over the first 1.0 seconds, increased from 20 to 80, and that's damage per second after the first 1 second is unchanged. Let me read that again, actually. Damage accumulated over the first... Okay, over the first second of Deadeye. Okay. So that basically has an initial higher burst of damage, and then it looks like after the first second, it drops, is how I think I'm reading that. Alright, so developer comment, McCree's ultimate can deal a lot of damage if it has time to build up, but it was often too difficult to get even a small amount of damage out before being stopped or killed. These changes make it far more flexible and powerful. Yeah, McCree kind of suffered from the same issue that that Pharah does, right? As soon as she goes up for her rocket barrage, she's usually shot down. Now, Pharah, this is counterbalanced by the fact that Pharah does in fact have the highest damage-doing ultimate in the entire game. But if you can't get it off, or you're getting slaughtered while you're exposed because you are completely stationary and open, it makes Pharah kind of a nebulous pick. However, you know, of course, in the competitive meta and in the game in general, the Pharah Mercy or Pharmacy combo is actually incredibly popular and does tend to keep her going in those situations. So, very cool. On to Reaper. Alright, the Reaping passive. Removed health orbs? Now regains 20% of all damage done to heroes as health? Wow. That's different. Alright, so if you don't play Reaper normally, once he kills someone, they drop these little red orbs. People joke around, call them souls. It looks like they're removing that entirely. And they're giving him passive health regeneration as he does damage. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. You know, they just kind of buffed him recently by making it to where once he goes into his Wraith form, he now comes out of the Wraith form with full ammo. That was definitely a net buff. This right here, I'm actually not sure if it'll work out better or not. In much the same way that Torbjorn gained passive scrap generation, this feels like the same kind of change. We'll see though. Developer comments say Reaper's old healing passive was useful if you could kill a bunch of enemies in a row, but since enemies needed to be dead for it to work, it wasn't very helpful unless the situation was already in your favor. His new passive lets him get immediate benefit from it, especially when fighting tank heroes, which tend to be larger targets that deal lower damage. This is also interesting because it actually makes it to where he doesn't necessarily need to have a healer pocketed. However, to be honest with you, Reaper was never a character that needed a healer pocketed. He's a flanker, that's his identity, just like Genji is a flanker, and just like Tracer is a flanker. So I don't know, we'll see how this works out. Usually though, when they bring changes to the PTR, it's because they intend to bring it to the game, and they're just trying to see if there's bugs, and not necessarily wanting to undo the balance changes. And this is a pretty big change, so we'll see how that goes. Moving on to RoadHog, Chain Hook. Oh god. Can we leave RoadHog's hook alone? Alright, targets are now pulled directly in front of RoadHog rather than straight to him. What does that even mean? In front? Oh, okay, so whatever direction he's facing, except in cases where RoadHog drastically rotates. This, I think, is designed to prevent RoadHog from hooking someone and then turning and then basically dropping them off a cliff. Or I even saw this video where RoadHog grabbed somebody and then dropped them into the traffic on the Oasis map. So it looks like they're trying to undo that, but also trying to balance it a little bit to make sure that when they do hook, that they actually show up in front. Hook targets are now released if they leave RoadHog's line of sight before being pulled. Again, I think that's the same thing. They're just trying to make sure he can't turn. Line of sight checks, which detect if targets should be initially hit by the hook, are now done from RoadHog's position rather than the hook's position. I actually didn't realize that. I thought it was done from RoadHog's position. All right, developer comments. The hook should now feel more consistent for RoadHog players. I've heard that before. I've heard that a ton of times before, actually. But it should also feel more reasonable to his enemies, as they cannot be hooked or pulled around corners anymore. And that is true, right? The original RoadHog hook, people made jokes about it pulling you through whole maps. I saw the YouTube videos where someone had the hook pulling a character all the way across multiple maps, and it was actually pretty funny. I don't know how I feel about that, but it also looks like there's additional RoadHog changes here. I don't know why there's a second section for them. All right, head hitbox size reduced by 20%. Interesting. That actually should make him a little harder to kill, but I actually feel like he's not really easy to kill now, especially the fact that he has his take a breather, which restores a good amount of health. I mean, it restores health faster than Mercy can heal him, and actually I think it technically heals him faster than Ana, and of course Lucio, because Lucio's passive now heals very little damage. He's still a good character though. I mean, they've done a good job to make him balanced and not overpowered, but he's still actually a must pick in my opinion for a lot of team comps, maybe with the exception of Dive, because, well, no, actually he might be really a good must pick for Dive too. Alright, so his scrap gun got some major changes. Bullet damage decreased by 33%, ouch. Fire rate increased by 30%. Okay, so I guess that's actually a wash. I mean, that just means he's going to do slightly less, 3% less DPS. And his clip size is increased from 4 to 5. I can't tell whether or not I think that's a net buff or a net nerf. It's a balance change. It is a balance change. And we're going to see how that plays out, especially since we're starting competitive Season 5 in, less than 24 hours, so we'll see. Alright, developer comments. RoadHog's head was abnormally large compared to similarly sized characters, so we're reducing its size to increase his survivability. The scrap gun changes reduce the power of his hook combo and alternate fire burst damage potential, while still keeping his high DPS roughly the same. That actually makes sense. That's why it looks like a wash. So I think the idea is to make the hook fairer, and to not necessarily guarantee a 2-hit, hook, or actually 3-hit really, right? Hook and then melee and then the shot all in rapid succession. Pretty much made him a one-shot damage dealing character. Although that probably still allows him to do enough damage to one-shot a Mercy and a Tracer. And maybe a Zenyatta, I don't know. At 250 with regenerating shields, I'm not sure. Shields, of course, don't reduce damage. That's only armor. But we'll have to see how that works. All right. Looks like there's user interface updates. A quick summary of each player's most played heroes is now available by highlighting the player in the group section of the social menu. And then statistics displayed will dynamically change based on the mode/rule set. Excuse me. A new All Modes option has been added on the career profile that allows players to view combined stats from all game modes. Quality of life change there. Has nothing to do with gameplay, but that's actually something that I have honestly wanted for a while, because it's really hard to figure out, okay, how much time do I have in this game? All right, let me see here. Let's look at quick play. Let's look at competitive. Let's look at competitive season 2 and 3 and now 4 and then current season. So I'm glad to see that information is consolidated. Playtime and then specific character playtime will be better represented as a cumulative whole this way. So I like that. A new all competitive seasons option has been added to the career profile that allows players to view combined stats from all competitive play seasons. Okay, cool. So they got the all mode, and then they've got the separate competitive play one. The damage done statistic has been replaced with the hero damage done in multiple locations. I guess that's just to indicate that it's that specific hero. That makes sense. A new barrier damage done statistic has been added to the statistics section of the career profile, as well as all damage done statistic, which combines damage done to barriers and heroes. Okay. Averages are now calculated in 10-minute slices rather than by the number of games played. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So if a game lasts longer, it's going to be weighted higher than if a game went shorter. And that actually makes very rational sense. That sounds like a lot more work for the game servers to feed to the client, but I think that this is a better way to approach it. Alright, rate this match option no longer appears at the end of a match. Oh, it's like a PC-only feature, actually. I never even saw it on console, and never really realized it might even have any value, and I think that maybe the community doesn't really use it, and so they're probably removing it because nobody uses it. So that makes sense, right? Alright, developer comments on these. A new hero damage done statistic is the same as the old damage done statistic, but it doesn't include damage done to barriers. Only damage against heroes and placed objects, and as an example, Torbjorn's turret. That number can be found in the new barrier damage done or all damage done statistics. However, since heroes damage done and barrier damage done are not brand new, their averages will only be based on time played since they were added. Also, the old statistics were calculated by taking total damage inflicted and dividing it by the number of games played. This resulted in an average that didn't accurately reflect the underlying performance because it didn't take into account the length of the games. The new averages are calculated on 10-minute slices. So, very cool. I'm actually glad to see these statistical changes being made. I'm glad to see the aggregate scores being represented. These 3 hero balance changes are really interesting, especially that McCree one, actually. I think that McCree's is going to make him a little bit more powerful. I think that in certain situations, like hook shot combos, RoadHog will actually be less damaging. And with this new hook calculation, I think his hooks will be more logically consistent, but a little less powerful. So what I think they're trying to do is I think they're trying to make sure that Hog is not a must pick in every situation. For a while, the triple tank meta, RoadHog was typically sitting next to maybe a D.Va or a Reinhardt, so it's nice to see that maybe Orisa could come in, although I have seen a lot of play for Orisa on competitive, especially as I've actually been going up in the ranks. Her pick rate was lower as I was lower, and then I definitely saw that there were certain points, like I've seen her be an integral part of defense on Hanamura, so very interesting. We got some bug fixes here. General, fix an issue causing players to lose progress on their on-fire meter after the meter had been completely filled. I never would have noticed this, but I do spend a good amount of time on fire, but I'm glad to see them make it consistent. Arcade, fixed a bug that could cause the announcers select your hero voice line to play during the end of a match screen after elimination games, and fixed a bug that prevented the Z's from appearing above a sleeping enemy during elimination games. Competitive play, fixed a bug that caused your first win to appear as a loss in your career profile. That would have been frustrating. But as long as it didn't affect SR, I probably wouldn't have ever noticed or cared. Custom games and game browser. Fixed a bug that prevented some settings from being properly displayed in the summary when viewing 3v3 elimination presets, which of course 3v3 was just recently added, I believe, to the custom games. Clarified an error message that appears when a player attempts to exit the settings page with an invalid combination of settings. Fixed a bug that caused the lighting from health packs to appear on Capture the Flag and elimination maps even after the health packs had been disabled. Okay, I wonder if they were baked into the environment. I don't know if they're dynamic. Let's see, fixed a bug that allowed Torbjorn's armor pack ability to function even after being disabled in custom settings. Which actually, alright, that's a good change because Torbjorn's armor, I know it doesn't seem like it, but they can really actually throw a game. Being able to have armor on your entire team increases their survivability dramatically, and it's one of the reasons why I picked Torbjorn on defense on Temple of Anubis or one of the reasons why I pick Torbjorn typically on defense on Hanamura, is because those armor packs really keep you going, especially if you can kind of stick a Bastion behind a Reinhardt and get them armor and all that. It makes them a pretty unstoppable team at times. All right, on to heroes. Fixed a bug that prevented players from hearing the voice line that typically accompanies their ultimate if they executed the ultimate after being stunned. Fixed a bug that could cause D.Va to become stuck if her mech was killed just as she summoned it. I haven't seen that, actually. That's interesting. Fixed a bug preventing Genji's sound effects from playing if he used his primary attack immediately after a swift strike. Fixed a typo in Orisa's Satisfied with Protection voice line. Fixed a bug that prevented Orisa's supercharger from being destroyed if run over by the payload. Wait, is that actually a bug? I thought the payload was supposed to destroy things in its path. Maybe not. Fixed a typo in the description on RoadHog's Junkenstein skin. Fixed a bug that allowed enemy players to detect Sombra while stealth was active if they were within a certain distance. I didn't know that that was a bug. I actually presumed that that was how it was supposed to work. So I saw this video on Reddit where someone was basically getting a little bit towards Sombra, and then they could see her, and then they backed away, and she would kind of cloak again. And I presumed that this was actually done on purpose to kind of limit the power of her stealth, in a sense that she'd have to still keep her distance, otherwise she'd be revealed and detected. So I'm really shocked to find out that that's actually a bug, and maybe a little disappointed to see them reversing it, because I actually feel like it plays to the player's skill to have to actually actively avoid the other team. Alright. Fixed a bug causing Symmetra's hair to take an unnatural appearance when her Vishkar or Architect skins were equipped. I didn't see that, but I know that there is a glitch with her ribbon emote from the summer games with the Oasis skin that they just added with the anniversary update. Fixed a bug with how Widowmaker's grappling hook interacts with the flying drones on Oasis. I haven't seen that. I'm really curious if you can actually grab onto them. Maps. Fixed a bug on Volskaya Industries that prevented the ice from appearing broken when players fell off a ledge to their death. Huh. I don't think I ever noticed that either. Alright, user interface. Fixed a bug that caused the Heroes of the Storm promotional portraits to appear locked, even after being unlocked. Fixed a bug that could cause an error message in chat if you attempted to spectate a new player while already spectating another player. Fixed a bug that could cause the chat window to be placed too high on the main menu, blocking menu options. And they fixed a bug that prevented text from wrapping in the player report text box. So actually, this is a little bit more than just, hey, lunar map. I'm surprised about the balance changes. I'm happy to see the extra options in the custom games. These changes are not necessarily meta shifting. That Reaper change, actually, because I think earlier I was saying the McCree change was the biggest one, but no, actually, really, they're effectively changing how Reaper's survivability works. So that's a bigger change than I think I initially gave it credit for as I've been thinking about it. And you know what, with that said, I think I'm gonna actually go ahead and fire up that PTR and try this new lunar map. But I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this patch note video. I wasn't expecting to do it, but I'm glad to have had the time. And hey, if you enjoyed this video or it was interesting or whatever, go ahead and like it. If you have anything to say, you want to discuss anything, I'd love to discuss Overwatch. I friggin' love Overwatch. I have an Overwatch t-shirt on, right? Oh, look at this. It's covered by my microphone. Anyway, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm at 159 subscribers as of the time of recording. I would love to hit like 200 in the next month and a half. That would be fantastic, right? It could totally be done. We're talking, what, 31 or 41 subscribers? 31. No, 41. I can't math. But yeah, you know, if you enjoy this content, you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Even if you don't subscribe, I'm going to keep doing the thing. And actually, in fact, with that said, let's keep doing the thing, and I will see you next time. There is a patch note to cover. Later.